So I'm going to start with, as I said, with a few questions. And you can feel free to write in your journal if you feel the urge to do that, but you can also just sit with these and see what comes to mind for you. The first is, what is something you really enjoyed learning in your life? What is something you really enjoyed learning and why? The next is, what have you risked in your life to stand up for something or for someone? What have you risked in your life to stand up for something or for someone? Next, bring to mind a time when you took a risk with your words. Bring to mind a time when you took some kind of risk with your words. See if you can remember what was the result. And finally, what is something you'd rather not know? What is something you'd rather not know and why? When you're ready, just again, take a minute to settle into your seat, adjust your position if you need to. And just bring your attention to the connection between your seat and the surface that you're sitting on. Just that place where you're touching the earth, your feet are touching the ground. Bring your attention there to your feet. Your legs are laid out in front of you. You bring your attention to your whole legs and their connection with the surface that you're sitting on. On your next inhale, see if you can bring it all the way down to that surface. Then releasing. Then next inhale, bringing that breath all the way down. Maybe watching it travel down the spine. And then just gently releasing the breath again. As you follow the breath in this way, just notice if there's any part of your body that is calling for your attention or is holding tension. If you do find some tension, see if you can just thank your body for that signal, and see if you can allow it to release with your attention. Now, this month we are looking at the pages of the tarot as risk takers. You can think of them almost as the fools of their respective suits. Bring to mind that image of the Page of Swords you were just looking at in your deck, or it's okay to look at the card if you'd like. That's preferable for you. And while I tell you a little bit about him, see if you can imagine being in the presence of this person. Swords relate to the element of air. And the element of air relates to the breath, to the voice, to the mind, and to knowledge. In our bodies, air is associated with the top half of our body, the lungs, the throat, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, and the mind. Pages represent the youthful form of their suit. They're at that age at which one is not educated enough to censor themselves. Some people never outgrow this, but generally we associate this with young people. Page of Swords, therefore, takes risks with their words. And people who do this, we tend to think of as youthful. You may think of a child who blurts out whatever it's thinking to anyone, in any place, at any time. Imagining you're standing with that Page of Swords. What might he say to you right now? Take a moment to notice how you relate to this figure. How much do they remind you of yourself? Remind you of yourself at a younger age? Do they remind you of yourself now? Or do you feel that you have never in your life embodied the spirit? Take a moment to bring to mind a time when you blurted something out without thinking. Happens to all of us, one time or another. Can you remember a time like that now? Remember the scene completely as possible. How old were you? Who else was there? What was the reaction to what you said? What was your reaction to what you said? And if nothing's coming to mind, you may want to consider something that sometimes you wish you could blurt out. Maybe there's a situation where you're constantly biting your tongue. And you daydream about the time when you finally let it all out, what you really think. I'll bring to mind that Page of Swords again. Can you embody the energy of the Page of Swords? Can you relate to this person's position, their demeanor, their personality? If you were going to spend the day with this person, what might you enjoy doing with them? I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes to just allow that to play out in your mind, but you can also just release that and return to your breath if you prefer. Allow yourself to savor these last moments with the Page of Swords. If this archetype reminds you of a younger version of yourself, maybe there's something you want to tell them. So take a moment to do that. On the other hand, maybe there's something you'd like to learn still from the Page of Swords. And if so, go ahead and ask that question. See if anything arises to answer. Before we begin to transition out of the meditation, just take a moment to imagine yourself moving out in the world with a sense of courage to say what you need to say and to handle the consequences of that. And whenever you do feel ready to transition, take as long as you need. There's no need to rush. You can do that by starting to deepen your breath. You could flutter your eyelashes open when you're ready. A sip of water can be a nice way to transition. You're also welcome to take some time to write in your journal if you'd like to capture anything that came up for you during the meditation.